I'm so excited. This is our very, very, very first Meet My Friends.
Yay!
And I just want to, actually, it's really nice that I can introduce each of you to the other, but we've done that. And first of all, I'd just really like to introduce you to, such an incredibly close friend, a treasure in my life, a treasure by the name of Jewel. And that's what we call her. We actually do call this beautiful shining rose, who is Juliana. We call her Jewel because she does. She sparkles. She lights up the dark places in my life, in our lives. Just even going to this place now, Juliana, where I get to touch base with what the gift of our friendship has been over the years. You know, it's just, I'm filled, utterly filled with gratitude. You know, from the moment that we met, it was like just one of those things where you go, oh, thank heavens you're there. Thank heavens you're there, and that we can grow and create this friendship for whatever amount of the journey we can have together. Oh God, it's not a journey, it's a life. Yeah. So I would so like to introduce you to the widest possible landscape that anybody who would ever like to know a little bit more about you in this next hour. I'd love this to be a space where we can explore and shine the light on you for a change.
Yeah, thank you. I'm often a little bit more comfortable with shining the light on others, it has to be said, but thank you, Heather. And you know, the gratitude that I have for you is boundless, endless, and totally, I should try not to weep too much, but you know, really, it's just the places that we've gone together and the joy that we find in each other is really, really beautiful.
Yeah,
so thank you.
And actually, even as you say that, the places that we go together, I mean, without this being an intimate love song just between the two of us, I think it's really appropriate to say that the places that we can go have been so expansive. There is no place in the realms that I'm going to call consciousness where we wouldn't be willing to go. And we have actually been. And what is it that we mean? Would you like to speak about that and say a little bit more about what I'm referring to?
Well, there have been so many different facets of the places that we've connected through different dances with different modalities, shamanic work, you know, journeying, deep journeys to plants, to so many different beings of the unseen realms, the dragon realms, the fairies, the elves, the land. We've done so much work with the land together that, you know, when the land speaks to us and asks us for a contribution, and some of the intricacies of that have shown themselves to us over the years, and it feels like such a privilege to be, you know, entering into those realms that many people don't see and that are so willing to give to us, so willing to support our lives in multiple ways. And and goodness, you know, half of the things we've done together, Heather, I can't even remember, but you know, conferences with beings and dialogues with beings, being guided to go to different countries, to Malta, to Ireland, to unlock some of the places in the land that have got stuck or that we had something to do with in the past, in our histories of other lifetimes, that, you know, just the gift of being able to return, and also recognizing how each person holds a different aspect of, whether we call it healing or the land coming back into balance, that each one of us, when we've journeyed together, holds a very specific signature that is in itself a key that unlocks. And so, you know, what is a kind of question for all of us is what keys are we that we can unlock places on the earth, in other people, in ourselves, that we may not have recognized yet. And sometimes it is meeting the people that stir that up in you, that, you know, you can make a connection with another person, and it makes it easier to access those parts of yourself. But each one of us has multiple keys to different kingdoms, whether they're seen or unseen. And so, yeah, just remembering that, you know, that feels like a beautiful reminder for me too of everything that's available to us if we're just willing to ask the questions and look, you know, what else can we
That's it. It's that energy of what else. It's that energy of wonder that actually, it's like there's a continual sense for the many years, I think maybe 15 years, or maybe it's 12 years, but there's always been a sense of the wonder of just being daring enough to peek a little bit beyond what might have been my preconceived limits, certainly the limits that are showing up in so many lives. But there's always this, I wonder, if we just ask that question, what else could show up? And I mean, gosh, we've been doing that in your garden with plants. We've been doing that in ceremonies years ago when we used to work with the Munai Ki, the beautiful Munai Ki initiations. The list is actually really, really long.
Really long.
About really, really wide as well, about the places that we've explored. But it is this wonder element that I just want to take my hat off to you in a particular area. I remember being a little bit dumbstruck by something that you had brought to me in a conversation once. There's two things I'm going to refer to in this conversation, I think. But the first one is, you told me once that you really weren't willing to buy the point of view that you had to die.
Yeah.
You know? And I kind of went, run that past me again. What's that? And you know, I went into my own stupid zone just for a bit. I probably didn't let you know about that because, you know, I wouldn't have let you know. That would have been a terrible thing to do. But it's like, what is that she's talking about? And it was a long and a big stretch for me to get to the place where I went, she's going into the place where her body actually exists as a being, that you can have that sort of a question going on.
Yeah.
That sort of a question going on. Now, it wasn't, I really want to say that it wasn't that you were denying, well, not even denying, but it wasn't that you were in defense or attack of any of the you know, the rituals or the religions or the ideas, but you just knew that you were in a body, and you'd done this so many times before. Why would you have to keep doing it again? No, yeah. This time round, I want to know more about what my body would like to create. Now, this was before you met the tools of Access Consciousness. This was a long time before. Do you want to speak a little bit about that now?
Yeah. I mean, I've had a relationship. I've been developing a relationship with my body for probably, oh golly, I don't know, at least 25 years, probably even no longer even, probably well over 30, where I've just been so aware. Even as a teenager, I can remember, you know, you get spots as a teenager, and I would have this curiosity about, well, why did my spot come out here? Why didn't it come here? What's my body showing me? What is it about here that relates to this spot? You know, what's my body trying to release? So I just always had these questions. And then I looked into acupuncture and, you know, found out about the meridians, and it all made a lot of sense, Chinese medicine and all of that. But I think somehow I always had a knowing that it was an energetic or emotional energy that was creating dis-ease. I never bought the point of view that physically I got a problem. You know, I caught the flu, I got a virus. for me, it would be, okay, so body's showing symptoms of that, but what's underneath that? What's really the cause of it, if you like? And so I just spent a long, long time developing the relationship with my body. And, you know, I learned about muscle checking, muscle testing, you know, all these years ago. And so I took this to quite a strong extreme, to the extent that I would be in the supermarket muscle checking which cabbage to buy. Seriously, you know, with these fingers kind of, shall I buy this cabbage or this cabbage? I mean, kind of extreme. But what it did actually was taught me to trust the messages, the signals that my body is giving me, so that if, you know, now I don't necessarily need to do the muscle checking, because I can just ask, body, would you like to eat this? Is this going to be nourishing to you, or whatever? But, you know, initially it took a bit of legwork. It took a bit of, you know, muscle checking everything. But so I just developed this awareness that the body has this incredible capacity to deliver whatever we're asking it to. And if that's dis-ease, it will deliver dis-ease. But equally, if we ask it to keep expanding the molecules, to keep going beyond, you know, what could we create? And I did join a group that was about physical immortality, which initially, mentally, I thought, what a stupid, naive joke that is. You know, I mean, come on, you can't live forever. But actually that whole process was also about really being with the body, my body and other people's bodies, in what can we create together when we allow the bodies to speak, when we allow the bodies to inform us, when we allow a greater communion with ourselves and all beings, whether they've got bodies or not, you know, when we're communing with the molecules as well.
You know, as you spoke just then at the very end, when you realized that you'd gone over the silly part of why would you join a group like that, when you said, but then I realized my body, just, you know, to point out how much awareness our bodies have, my body went into this massive relax, a massive, yeah, there we are, that kind of a loss of tension at every level is what my body expressed through you arriving in that moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we spend a lot of our energy, and it's mostly unconscious, defending against dying. We're constantly defending against the fact that we're going to die, or even the whole process of letting go is connected to dying, you know. And so how much do we resist letting go of the things that aren't serving us anymore? It's all kind of connected to the death process, because if we are resisting death, we're actually drawing it towards us, rather than just being an allowance of death and choosing, well, do I choose to die? Do I not choose to die? I've seen a lot of people dying in pretty miserable circumstances where they've been in total denial of the fact that they're dying. And I made a choice a long time ago that if I do choose to die, it will be because I choose to, and I will do it consciously, and I will go with grace and ease. But why not see what the possibilities are for my body to keep regenerating? And, you know, why not play with it? Why not see what's possible?
Beautiful. It's just beautiful. And you know, the energy in my world goes to just highlight the fact that you use the word choice. And you have been using that word as an active engagement for as long as I've known you, and I know that it goes back way before then, is that I made the choice. I made the choice that, you know, death exists, but I'm actually not going to fight it. I'm actually going to choose to die consciously if and when that happens.
Yeah.
And these are breathtaking moments. You know, when we hear somebody speak that they're really willing to make a different choice, it's a breathtaking moment where you go, oh, okay, I'd like some of that. I'd like some of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so there's just one other little anecdote that I'd like to refer to, and I actually don't know whether I've ever confessed this. So this might be a major blush moment for me. Actually, the people in my bars class know this story whenever they come to a bars class, because I use it to introduce you. For you are the person that introduced the tools of access consciousness to me. And what happened was we were both living in the area in southern England, and there's this lovely central marketplace that was, you know, a weekly favorite for me, twice a week for me, actually, Tuesdays and Saturdays. This was my world, my world, my world. I would shop. This is what I would do. I would shop, I would cook, I would be with the people. I was in my joy. And there was this one glorious day, I don't know if it was a Saturday or a Tuesday, but what happened was you were there in my favorite fruit and veg stall. You weren't always there because you lived a fair old journey away. And I saw you from a distance, and you were, well, you were, I mean, off the charts, radiant, energetic joy in a way that I'd not encountered in you, or actually in too many other people before on this day. And I don't know if you've ever had that experience where somebody is so bright in their shine that it's almost impossible to know how to engage with it. So I watched you beaming from a distance, and there you are, this close, gorgeous friend that I absolutely love, you know, and I couldn't approach you in that moment. I was like, and what was going on, of course, was that I wasn't shining that brightly in that moment. I was needing something different from my good old buddy, you know. My good old buddy needed to be able to meet me in that place of empathy, and, you know, there I am. Now, I wasn't saying that you weren't capable of doing that, but I didn't want to know that you were shining that brightly, because it really highlighted my patch of not. Yeah. So I walked away from that going, no, but this is my beloved friend. This is not okay. What's going on there? So, you know, a few more market stalls later, I will cut the story short, but I tend to tell a long story just to give the energy sometimes. So stay with me. A few other stalls later, I saw you, and I pretended that I hadn't seen you 5 or 10 minutes before. And you said, hey, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And I go, yeah, you too, it's fantastic. And I go, oh God, I just felt like shit 10 minutes ago, but I'll get over myself. And I said, so what's been happening? Wanting to know, what the heck are you doing? You know, like, really, wow, what amazing new thing are you doing that's almost too much for me to know about? And you said, I've just met these amazing tools, this incredible, these classes that are really changing my life. And you started to tell me, and it's, you know, I'm introducing really, really engaging and joy-filled people. Well, that obviously pushed a little button with me, because I go, really? You mean there are other joy-filled people that are not me? Just for a moment. I got over myself again, but then I started to listen, and I started to watch over the next weeks and the next days. It was more than I could bear to not have some of the drug that you were taking. And what was the drug? So I'd love you to tell me about that time. Yeah. So everybody gets a little sense of, you know, you already had a ritual life, and then something else began to show up in a new way. Hear about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was 2012 actually, and it was quite a big year. It was my 60th birthday year, and, you know, it was 2012, and I'd been waiting for 2012 for 30 odd years, you know, oh my God, this is the year, this is it, this is what's going to happen. And I'd just come back from Bali. I just, you know, to celebrate my birthday, I'd had a big trip to Bali. It was amazing. And I'd done these ceremonies that were called the template, that were about sacred geometry and realigning your body, and it was really awesome. But it also stirred up a hell of a lot of stuff for me. It just, I don't know, you know, sometimes when you have massive change and then the shit hits the fan and you're kind of dealing with everything that isn't that. And so I came back to England, and I was so aware, I really am looking for something. There's something I need now to really shift the residue that's got stirred up in my life. I didn't know what it was. And then I took a video of this template ceremony around to some other friends, and we were watching that, and one of them was saying that she'd got some issues with money, you know, she was feeling tight around money and whatever. And another friend just said, oh, you should check out Access Consciousness. They're brilliant at that kind of thing. You know, they have some really great tools for money, to do with money. That was it. That was all that was said. But that word access was just like a little worm in my brain. It was just like, access. I have to look up that thing, access. So I looked it up online, and I came across a video of Dane doing one of his ESBs, you know, where he has somebody on the table and he's working his magic in their energy field, and he's talking and he's running the clearings. And I sat there as cynical as can be. I sat there like, oh God, another one of these blooming American things. You know, I've been caught by this too many times. I've been involved in these American groups. They tell you can have it all. I don't believe it. It's a load of crap. So I just kind of sat there, you know, with my arms crossed, and then got on with other things, and didn't think any more about it. Well, the following day, my husband at the time he got the video. I don't know, must have left it on the screen or something, and he started to watch it. And I came in, I was having my lunch, and I was watching this thing, and I thought, oh my God, I like this. This is amazing. Oh, I've changed since yesterday. I've changed. I was cynical yesterday. Today I'm not cynical. What the fuck is this? Yeah. This was big enough for me to take notice. It was like, anything that can move me that quickly is really interesting. I just knew it instantly. So I immediately booked myself the following Saturday, which was just a few days away, on a bars class. I'd not had any other exposure to Access. I just went and did it. And from there, I did another one the following Saturday, and another one the following Saturday. And then 2 weeks later, I did the foundation. And 2 weeks later after that, I did level 1. And then I did the 3-day body class. And it was just like, this is what I've been looking for. I'm on, you know, this is it. Fabulous. And it's continued that way. I mean, because, you know, Access is always growing and changing, which suits me down to the ground, because I'm always growing and changing. And I see these miracles occurring in me, in other people. You know, I've just been so blessed that you were willing to play with me in it. You know, Gabriella, others, many others have been willing to play. And that's just what it is. It's just play. Yes. It's just play and magic and change at a scale that I never knew was possible, because, you know, I used to do like a past life clearing, and I'd sit there get someone from the Akashic record would bring me a book, and I'd work through it page by page, and I'd sit there doggedly for 4 hours sometimes, you know, just because in the middle of it, I'd be kind of, you know, nodding off and going unconscious. And so then I come back to it, right, I'm going to get through this, I'm going to do it, you know. And I would do the work, but nothing was as easy as Access, where you just kind of, you know, good, bad, right, wrong, pop, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds a few times, and poof, it's gone. I mean, okay, you know, we still have to do the work, but boy, is it easier than anything I'd found before. Yeah. So it's just, you know, just totally joyful to be able to play continuously with it. It's just amazing. And, you know, I don't regret anything else I've played with or worked with or persevered with at times, but I'm so grateful that I don't have to do that anymore. It's just so much easier, you know. And there's so many other wonderful people who want to do the same thing. And how does it get better than that?
Yeah, it's a seriously life-enhancing set of tools.
Yeah.
And I, too, had the same, utter resistance. I mean, utter resistance to these wonderful videos that you referred to, which was basically Dane's Tour of Consciousness. And it was like I would turn them on, and he was so loud in my English space. And I'm an Australian, you know, I mean, really, how could he be louder than, you know, the average Australian? No, I was utterly English, and it was just too much. Turn it down, that red shirt. Oh my God. And the judgments that were stopping me from going, hang on, what the fuck is happening here? And like you, I just kept going back every so often. I'd make a bit more space, push my barriers down and go, something here. There's something here. And then I had my first bar session. Having my first bar session with you was an off-the-chart difference, in my life. And I have had huge cataclysmic experience, major life changes, Shaktipat awakenings. It doesn't, we don't need to go there. But this bars session with some one-to-one facilitation from you, which is exquisite exquisite, was a journey that I will always recall, not like, like I'm stuck in the recalling. It's just a gift that I love to refer to, is that when I arrived back in home that day, and I was there with my partners and my son in a familiar territory, nothing was the same. And what was different was me. The hooks, the people with, Gabriella was one of the people in the room, and when she or Quentin or Edward would be engaging in something that the day before would have been something that I would have been juiced up about, I'm hearing it, but it's not landing. Yes, it's not being munched up in me. I'm not having to get into a level of involvement here. Now, whatever that is, I'm not worried about it, because I feel so good as a result. So that experience of getting out of my own way was an active engagement in something really tangible that I said, I'm having seriously a lot more of this, a lot more of this. And I've taken my own time with it over the years, and never, ever, ever, not one day have I been not grateful for the changes, for the shifts. And some of them have been massive. Some of them have been a little bit longer. Not a single day has gone past where I haven't been grateful for the changes that have been facilitated, that have created this much more ease in my life, which really, really brings me to an open space now where I'd like to, have each of you who have come on the call to, if you wanted to direct any questions towards Juliana around any particular area of life. It doesn't have to be about money. It doesn't have to be about entities. It doesn't have to be about relationships. It could be. Because what the tools of Access Consciousness provide is a new way of approaching just about everything. Yeah. And so, Jewel, this is an opportunity for you to maybe talk a little bit about the foundation class, or any of the classes that you wanted to bring, because here we are. Or for anybody else, put up your hand or unmute yourself if you'd like to ask anything, and I'll shut up for a little bit and step into a quieter space. I'll have my cup of tea with my roses.
I see there are some things in the chat. I haven't looked yet to see whether those are questions or
they're not questions in that way.
Okay.
I do it in the supermarket as well. That's a great line, Janine.
What was that?
I do it in the supermarket as well.
So to the muscle testing.
Oh, great. Okay. So I'm not the only weirdo then.
No. I also trained as a kinesiologist, and muscle testing is great. And then there's awareness.
Yeah.
Muscle testing is like kindergarten level to awareness.
Right.
And what is that? Would you talk about that, please?
Yeah, but it's also, it is, we can be really aware, but it's a great training tool if we're not actually used to listening to the signals of our body. It's a great way of stepping ourselves into that awareness that the body can be, which just will show us, which thing, almost now that we've got the tool of light and heavy, we also can use that as, is something going to light up for me? Is it light and easy for me, which means it's true for me? Or is it going to be, is it heavy? Does it feel contracted? Or, limiting for us. So we've got lots of different tools we can play with now. But yeah, I think muscle checking is still really good. And actually one of the things that is a little bit of a refinement on that is that sometimes I'll ask my body, you know, would you like a particular food? Or if I'm in a public place particularly, would it like a particular food or a glass of wine or whatever? And I'll get a yes. But sometimes if I ask, and who does that belong to? It's not actually mine. And I'm picking up on someone else in the space, because we are all so psychic that we're picking up 99% of everything we think, feel, and think is ours is actually not. And so, you know, that's another level that we can add into even the muscle checking when we get a yes on something. So body, what are you, who or what are you aware of here? And allow all of that to go, pod and pock that. And then sometimes there's a different response from the body that I find, you know, so particularly with wine, because I always like to have a glass of wine, but my body doesn't always like it. And sometimes I'll pick it up, you know, in a restaurant, I'll think I'd like a glass of wine, and actually it's not mine. The body really doesn't require it. So, you know, that's just kind of a moment, you know.
Actually, so Juliana, there might be some people who will listen to this or watch this that are not in the room. I think everybody in the room does know about pod and poc.
Okay, cool.
Bring your light.
Okay, so the pod and poc is short form really for the access clearing statement, which is something that's been developed over the last 28 years or so, and is like taking something to the seed of its origin and just allowing the energy to be released. So we ask, if we're bringing an energy up, we'll ask, would you like to destroy and uncreate it? On the basis that everything we create in our lives, literally we have created it. So it's not that things happen to us, it's that we're creating all the circumstances, and we may not be, mostly we're not conscious of what we're creating. But if we realize that there's an energy or a limitation that isn't serving us, we may have picked it up from somebody else. That's one thing. And if so, we can return it to sender with consciousness attached, which is not dumping it back. It's actually a gift of consciousness. And if it is ours, then we can use the clearing statement to uncreate, destroy whatever limitation has become solidified in our world. And that might be an emotion, it might be a point of view, a belief system, it might be something in our bodies. And so the clearing statement is an interesting one. If you haven't heard it before, it's basically taking us to, allowing us to undo polarities and releasing stuck energies to the point where we can uncreate and destroy those energies. And it is good and bad, right and wrong, pod and poc, which is point of destruction, point of creation, good, bad, right, wrong, pod, poc, all 9, which is relates to 9 levels of different energies. What's next? I'm going completely shorts, which is, what have I made so meaningful about this? What have I made so meaningless about this? So again, polarities. Boys, which is about where we've created a problem that we've almost had like a nucleated sphere around, where we keep on peeling away a layer and then there's more, and we peel away another layer and then there's more. So it's almost like a place where we can't quite get out of a loop. And then beyonds is the place where we go beyond what we think is possible, what we believe is possible. It takes us, when something takes us into a beyond. What you described about seeing me in the marketplace, that was a beyond for you in that moment. It was something that takes us, or when we get the gas bill and it's, you know, £500 more than you expected, and you go, that's a beyond.
That's so really interesting. I'd never thought about that experience as having been a beyond. I met it in a different way, but you're absolutely right. It was more than it. Well, it didn't fit my idea of who you were. It was just Yeah, it was just outside of that. So you're right, it's a beyond. Wow.
Well, and where do we not fit? What boxes have we created around ourselves that are identifying who we are, what we can be, what we can't be, and you know, what have we solidified that is possible for each one of us, that actually way more beyond that is possible, but that would be a beyond for us? So anything that is that we would not be willing to be, know, perceive and receive about ourselves, shall we all uncreate and destroy that?
Oh, yeah.
Right, wrong, POC or 9 shorts, boys and beyonds.
Oh, thank you.
What if each one of us is so way bigger, so much like a complete galaxy unto ourselves? Each one is like a galaxy unto ourselves, that we have not had the capacity to view, to receive, to perceive, or to know about ourselves. And would we be willing to allow more of that, a little bit more of that, to come into our awareness now? And anything that wouldn't allow that with ease, shall we destroy and uncreate?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Good, bad, right, wrong, POC or 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Because, you know, each one of us has come from star systems, different planetary systems, different places. And there's this, like, I wanted to say vestibule, and I don't know quite why I want to use that word, but it's like each one of us is a receptacle for these incredible energies that are largely untapped. And, you know, what I love about access is there are no limits. There's no end point. There's no ultimate goal. There's no ultimate class. You know, the foundation class is never ultimate. It's never the ultimate foundation class. It changes. Last year it changed twice in a year. It got rewritten, totally new class. Twice. It doesn't stop. And that's what lights me up. It doesn't end. You know, most other things that you can study or learn, they'll give you the formula, and that's the formula. And that's kind of it. And you can maybe tweak it. You might be able to expand it a little bit. But what I love about the access classes is no two classes are the same, because the beings that are in the class in physical bodies, the beings that are in the class in non-physical with no bodies, the place, the land, every class is totally unique. So when you feel drawn to a class, when it lights up for you, you know, what contribution are you being to that class, even by that lighting up for you? And even if you don't go, how much have you already contributed your energy to that class being more magnificent than it could have been before?
Yeah, lovely. And you know, just recently I got this supreme moment of like, oh, duh. Where I got that actually the difference in an access consciousness class to any other kind of, let's call it, learning that I've ever applied myself to, is that there is no end game that can actually be named or identified.
Right.
Because as soon as we would do that, I'd be creating a judgment. And it's the other side of that. It's not even the other end of it. It's the other side of that. You see, if I attempt to name or define or refine any aspect of the changes that I know have occurred, I would in some way limit them. And so I got that when Gary Douglas speaks, Gary, the founder of Access Consciousness, when he speaks, he's not actually chasing a goal of any kind through any of the work that he is bringing to us. It's not work. This is just the energy of life. There's no diminution there. But there is only one aim in everything, and it's awareness. Mm-hmm. I mean, if awareness could be a currency, I think that would probably make it more desirable, because something about money and currency makes people want it or not want it and all of that stuff. But this is like this underrated aspect of what it is to be alive.
Right.
That is really the biggest gift of all, that we would actually stay unawake to, and it's awareness. So everything here that we're talking about is about relieving these veils of unconsciousness from ourselves and from the walls that I'm looking at in the room, from the, anywhere that I would for a second not be willing to acknowledge that these flowers are engaging with me at a level of consciousness that cannot be defined, for that would make it no longer conscious, is something that I think is an awareness that was never available to me before.
Right.
At that, yeah.
And the willingness to be constantly in change, the willingness to live in 10-second increments, short, this is true for me right now. It may not be true for me tomorrow. It's true for me right now. And that flower that you just pointed to, the rose is just such an incredible flower. It just, my sense of the rose is that it actually allows us to see the beauty in ourselves and the beauty in everything. But that beauty isn't a definable one-off thing. It's every 10 seconds, it's a different beauty, because it's a different facet. There's a different aspect, there's a different engagement. And everything you were saying about the, beyond the end point is, as humanoids, which a lot of us are, this kind of almost new species of evolving beings on the planet, that we get bored very easily. And if there's an end point, you're kind of, oh, is that it? What else? What else is there? What else can we create? What else could we have as magic? And we have been diminished. We have been diminished over thousands of years to believe that we're limited. And what if we're not?
What if we're not? What if that was never true?
What if that was never true?
Colossal lie that we bought as true.
Yeah, and what if no one ever did anything wrong? It was just trying something on for size, and that works or that doesn't work. What if any of us have never done anything wrong? What if you are not a judgeable offense and never have been? And so everywhere that we judge ourselves and find ourselves wanting, find ourselves not quite up to scratch, or, whatever it is, each one of us has our own particular brand of beating ourselves over the shoulder with a big stick or whatever. Everything that is, would you be willing to see yourself as a rose might see you? Would you be willing to see yourself as a horse might see you, as a cat might see you, just as a radiant collection of molecules that's formed in a particular way in that moment? And what else? What else can we choose? And anything that wouldn't allow that, shall we uncreate and destroy it?
Yes.
Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, buckle, nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
I love that.
What if life really could be that easy if we would allow that? It's like, and it can. It really can. When we're in, everyone knows, when you're in the flow, life is easy. It's only when we stop ourselves, and usually that's a definition or a judgment that causes a blockage, it causes a wall, it causes a defense, a defense mechanism. And all of that just gets in our way. So what if we were willing to be really vulnerable with ourselves and say, you know what, I'm not half bad. I'm pretty good. I'm actually pretty awesome. And I don't know even a fraction of who I am yet. And everything that comes up that's in the way of that, shall we uncreate and destroy it?
Yep.
Thank you. Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, buckle, nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So thank you. That takes me straight to this place that is the Well, it is one of the gifts that comes through really beautifully in the foundation class, actually, is the 5 levels of intimacy. And I know that this is a very particularly favorite subject. Well, if there is a favorite subject, this is one that we have whispered about with each other. We've asked questions about with each other. But would you like to speak a little bit about how it is possible for us to live with a different level of intimacy with anything and everything?
Yeah, well, the first relationship we have is with ourselves and our bodies. And so, the 5 elements of intimacy that we talk about in more depth, of course, in the foundation class are vulnerability, gratitude, honor, trust, and allowance. And if we can have that for ourselves, what we've been just talking about, the judgments that come up around ourselves. I mean, there's nobody that's as harsh a judge to us as ourselves. We will always judge ourselves first, get in there first before anyone else does. But of course, that just seems to attract more coming towards us. It doesn't mean that we sidestep it somehow by judging ourselves. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work. So, what if we could be an allowance for everything that we are, have no judgment and have no point of view about it? Just that this is what I'd like to choose in this 10 seconds. And is that going to really honor me? And how can I honor me today? What could I do for me today that would really honor me? And what would really honor my body? And I did that last night, and I was asking myself what would really honor me in this 10 seconds, and it was go and have a bath. And it wasn't the most convenient time to go and have a bath, but that was what my body really was asking for. And I'd had a lot of backache during the afternoon, and I went and soaked in a bath for 20 minutes and I felt fine. Backache had gone, everything was fine. But most of the time we don't honor ourselves by listening, by asking the question to start with, and then listening.
It's true. We would actually even block out the opportunity to listen by having gone straight to the conclusion most often. I find that that's almost an automatic response. We ask a question and there's a conclusion attached to it, and then the listening space is just not present in that moment. Oh, have you frozen, Jewel?
Yeah, we've lost Juliana just temporarily.
Okay. So while we've lost her and before she comes back, shall we actually pod and pock all of the autoresponders that I just referred to? The ones where we go to conclusion. Immediately we ask the question, which is not really a question. So all of the automated responders that are locked into place there as what it is to ask a question, could we destroy and uncreate them now, please?
Yes, please.
Right now, good and bad, pock and pottle men, shorts, boys and girls. Ooh, Juliana, it looks like you've been muted, honey. Can you unmute yourself? Maybe Gabrielle.
I actually got blipped out of the meeting somehow, so I missed a little bit of what you were saying.
Well, yeah, no, I just picked up, after you had spoken, I referred to how we often don't go to the listening space. We can ask the question, but we often won't allow even that moment of intimacy with ourselves or vulnerability with ourselves to dare to listen. We would override the listening and go straight to conclusion. So when you dropped out and you weren't able to hear what I had said, we decided to.
Great, thank you. Thank you, excellent. We can always do with more pod and pocs. and the thing is that for some people, listening to the body is an easy thing, that you will get a sense of it or you'll hear something. For other people, that doesn't work. So, it can be helpful to find out what mode of communication is going to work best for you with your body. It might be writing. It might be, sometimes I used to write out the question and then I just allow my pen to write, or sometimes I do it on the computer and just allow the flow to come through. And it depends, how you are, whether that which works best for you. I have even in like years gone by, I have even sent myself a letter with questions in it, so that when I open the letter, then I'll sit down and write the answer.
Oh, cool.
Because that gets you out of the brain, it gets you out of the head. And, you know, when you open a letter from somebody, I mean, these days, who sends each other, you know, we don't send many physical letters anyway, but, or send yourself an email, you know, and just ask the questions and then see what comes, because we have to get out of the brain. The mind and the brain will always refer to the past. So they will always give us the same information we've had before. And so we have to get out of that into a space where we can receive the information in a neutral space. So that may be helpful.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. And this quality, I mean, I can keep talking until the cows come home, because I'm really engaged in every aspect of what we're doing. I don't want to ask this next question if anybody else wants to.
Yeah, if there's anybody that would like any, you know, question about your life or anything, if you'd like any facilitation, we can go there. We can do whatever you'd like to do in this next few minutes.
Anybody got any questions about the class, or about what happens over 4 days for the foundation, or the entity class, or money, any obstacles to being able to choose, and these sorts of things, these crazy things that we do to ourselves? Liz is waving. So Liz, do you know how to write down on the bottom of the screen? There's got it.
Got it.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, because my husband told me the other day, we've been doing Access, I think, for like 7 months. I mean, it feels like it's been a really long time. So it's kind of crazy, like how much has changed in that short amount of time. But this thing about like the choice, because my husband and I have been in a financial situation has not been great over the last several years. And like at the moment, like things are like, I can feel like the energy is changing around the money, and we've been doing a lot of work on it. Like I've been doing the How to Become Money workbook, and like a lot has just been shifting and changing, but like it hasn't changed enough yet that I want to do the foundation, but I haven't, like I want to just choose it. But you know, when it's like I want to choose it, or like I want to make the choice, but like when the money is just not there, like I think there's that, I still just kind of can't wrap my head around how you just choose, you know?
Okay. All right. So thank you for that question. And everything that is, all that energy that comes up in your body when you were just describing that, would you like to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, pop, and shorts, boys, and beyonds. What if it's not something that you have to figure out?
Right.
What if it is just a choice? And anywhere that you're making the choice significant, would you like to uncreate and destroy all of that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, pock, or 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. Anywhere that you're making the money significant, would you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yeah.
Thank you. Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, pock, or 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. And all the reasons and justifications for choosing something based on money that really doesn't honor you, would you destroy and uncreate all of that?
Yes.
Thank you. Good, bad, right, wrong, pop, pock, or 9 shorts, boys, and beyonds. And have you done the thing of looking at, if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years' time?
On this particular one, no, I haven't actually yet. No.
Okay. I mean, in general, this is a good thing for anything that we're looking at choosing. You know, if you can get the energy of what it will create for you, then you can look at so let's take the class as an example. If I choose this class, what will my life be like in 5 years' time? And just get the energy of that. And will it expand my life? and there's more questions you can ask, but I'll leave that for now. And now look at the energy of, if I don't choose this class, what will my life be like in 5 years' time? And get the energy of that.
Right.
You know, and the thing is that often access classes will feel light, because mostly they are. They are expansive, they are light. And then you can start asking questions like, okay, if I choose this class, will it make me money?
Right.
My life? Will it contribute to me in lots of ways? And if I don't choose it, will that make me money? Will that contribute to my life? And just get an energy gauge and follow wherever you feel is going to contribute to you the most. And, you know, you've got a family, you've got to take that into account as well. So, and if you do get the energy that it's going to be expansive and contribute to your life to do the class, then you can start asking, okay, universe, I'm choosing this class. What do I need to be or do different that's going to allow me to create the money for this to be possible? Start asking the question. It's the ask and you shall receive. And then money can start showing up to you in ways you might not have imagined, or some other possibilities will present themselves and you'll be able to, you know, choose that. So it really is about getting clear what it is you'd like to choose.
Right.
And then keep asking questions. And also, even with that exercise of looking ahead, that may change too. You may want to keep checking on that because you're changing all the time. So you may get different awarenesses with it. And if you get the awareness that you'd like to choose it, and any sense of limitation comes up in you, like your head saying, yes, but, how am I going to justify this to my husband? Yes, but how are we going to pay the bills? Whatever it might be for you, just keep pocking it. Just keep destroying and uncreating it. Because the place we all want to get to is where we can make a clear choice that, you know, and then it is just a choice. It's not a huge significant thing. It's just a choice.
Right.
How is that in your body?
Yeah. It's just, so it's opened it up for me.
Good.
I don't know how to even describe it. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And is there anything around other people judging you if you choose that class?
Yeah. Yeah, there is. I mean, especially because I am in a relationship, and my husband's amazingly supportive, but at the same time, you know, because I'm, you know, a mother and, you know, this family, so there's all that, you know, am I taking away from something else by choosing?
Right. Sure. Okay, well that's cool. And so anywhere that you might limit yourself because of other people's judgments, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate all of that? Thank you. Good, bad, right, wrong, pod, poc, or nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. And another question you can add in then to the mix is, will this be a contribution for my whole family? Because you're not just asking for you, you're asking for your whole family. So you can, you know, put that in. If I choose the class, if I don't choose the class, and see what contributes the most. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Keep pod and pocking. If it's, you know, if you've got stuff coming up in the way. But thank you for the question. That's cool.
Thank you.
Can I add something there, Jewel?
Yeah, sure.
It's like it's this interesting energy of you know, getting clear what you've just described, getting clear on what contributes the most, and then once the commitment is in place and the choice is made, then inviting the universe to contribute in ways that you couldn't have shown up if you hadn't said yes. But it's the yes that follows the clarity that then allows contributions to come in that wouldn't have been able to come in if you hadn't made the choice to say yes. You'd waited for this whatever to show up. Before you said yes, it could be that it never shows up because you haven't taken the step, or we haven't taken the step, I haven't taken the step to say, yes, I'm going for it. Universe, can you support me, please?
Yeah.
So that's
awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. That's just brilliant. Yeah.
It's a little bit like that experience is a little bit like being willing to receive that which is coming towards us in advance of it coming, because actually it's a kind of a perfect match for what it is we are, that we're not willing or able to receive until we say, actually, I am willing to be and receive that. And that's where it shows up as magic, actually, really. In that moment, we're completely out of the way and we're saying, okay, come and find me because I'm here. But we're not looking for what it will create for us. It's just an energetic yes. It's, whoa, with no holds barred. Yeah.
And often what happens is the mind will go to the how to. Well, how am I going to make that happen? And that's the limited self. That's always referring to the past. Well, in the past, I've had to save the money, or someone's had to give me the money. But the universe can bring us money on opportunities and possibilities from all sorts of places. And it's so right. It's that yes and the commitment to ourselves and to kind of investing in ourselves. You know, I see a lot of my access classes as an investment in me, and an investment in unleashing more of me so that I can create more, be more, and then have more. You know, but it's like any access class is an investment in you.
So Juliana, I'm aware that how, as a question, is being referred to as a distractor implant, actually. It's almost like something that would trap us in a distraction. We really have gone a little bit over time. I think we can maybe spend 10 minutes more. Do you think? Is everybody on board?
If everyone's okay with that, yeah, I'm happy to do it.
Just nod. Or you can leave, of course, if you want to, but that'd be absolutely fine. But do you want to could you just, I was going to say talk about distractor implants, but it's not really that. Could you talk about any other aspect of the class that, might be in there that could be a contribution, not in a kind of A plus B equals C way, but which you're not capable of?
Well, there's just so much. You know, we have 4 days of the class, 4 full days, and they are full days. And sometimes it's even, you know, a challenge to do everything, be with everything that's in that class, because it is just the most massive toolkit of ways of looking at different parts of our lives that really come from a different angle, really come from almost the opposite of everything we've ever looked at, and show us that we've really taken on so many limitations from the world that do not serve who we are as infinite beings. That as infinite beings, we do have infinite choice and infinite possibilities, but most of us don't live that way because we've been programmed, if you like, from our families, from school, from everywhere, that, you know, these are the guidelines and you better follow those guidelines, and those are the limitations and whatever. So we go into just so many areas. We do look at creating a new financial reality for yourself. Above all else, what we're really doing is allowing the foundation of life that we've believed is necessary to dissipate, to crumble. And as at the same time we create the platform that is unique for your life, Liz, for your life, Daniela, for your life, Gabriella, Heather, you know, for each of us, for Janine, what is it? What would be your platform for life? And that's going to be unique to each person. And that goes back to the thing we spoke about before, about the gifts that each one of you brings is so unique. So you can't go with a one-size-fits-all foundation for life. You know, what's really important to you? What do you wish to create here on this earth? And what are the tools that are going to support you in making that life be easy, be joyful, be full of possibilities? It's almost like reframing everything we've ever believed is possible, and showing you ways and means that you can create whatever you'd like to create in your life with ease, with joy, with glory, it's a kind of an interesting thing, isn't it? All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. When you first say it, it's a bit like parroting these words, but the more you live that, the more it becomes true. Life is joyful, life is easy, and it can be glorious the more that we choose that. And so, yeah, we look at relationships, we look at intimacy, we touched on that a little bit. We look at the 10 keys for freedom, lots of different ways that you can apply, lots of different ways that you can kind of deal with what comes up on a day-to-day basis. So, your mother-in-law is driving you crazy and you don't know how to deal with her. Just simple tools that you can use of how to work with people in your life, in your workplace. There's just so much in it, loads and loads. And
body processes.
Thank you. Four different body processes that you learn. One that is specifically about undoing the places where you may have mimicked your family. We come into families, and when you see little children, pretty soon, usually by about the age of 2 or 3, they're walking like someone in the family, or they're beginning to take on the mannerisms of someone in the family. And that happens on every level. That happens in our belief systems, in our emotional life, happens on every level. So one of the body processes is specifically designed to undo the places where we've been mimicking other people, whether that's family members, religions, can be all sorts of things, and allows our body to come more in tune with who we are. And so the communion with our bodies can get stronger. The body processes in Access are amazing. They're all about allowing our bodies to return to who they, or really maybe not return, to choose who they really are rather than who we've become, and allow us to undo some of those places where we've got knotted or solidified, that eventually lead to disease. So yeah, loads of body processes. I mean, bars is kind of a constant throughout the 4 days. I'm always recommending people get your bars run, especially anyone who's sitting there looking like a dog watching television. Go get your bars run immediately, because then you'll be able to receive more. So there's a lot of material, really a lot of material, and it's very joyful. It's very led by the participants. So although we have a manual, we're not following it A to Z. We will dance with the manual as the questions come through, as facilitation shows things up. We will dance with the material that way. It's never just a dry old bone, that we're just going to work through this manual. But it also has to be said that you go away with the manual and recordings of the class. But with the manual, anytime you're stuck, anytime things are not going so great in your life, you can just open the manual and there'll be just the thing you need to see for that moment, just the tool to remind you, oh yeah, I can ask, who does this belong to? Or, oh, interesting point of view, I'm getting wound up over my husband. Interesting point of view, I'm choosing that. So lots and lots of different ways that you can work with anything in your life. How to be, how to make parenting easier, how not to get hung up about being the perfect parent, and tools and tips that can work for anything, any situation. So, yeah. It's wonderful. And like I say, no 2 classes are the same. Beings show up who want to contribute to us from the land, from the place, wherever we're holding it. And, and the venues themselves usually are part of the contribution. With the class in Cowen, we had quite a dance finding the venue that the class would like, and we've ended up with something quite different than we expected. And it's very clear, and as soon as we made that choice to choose that venue, all these beings start showing up that they like, yeah, we're coming, So how does it get better than that, really? Because like I say, when you choose a class, you're part of the creation of that class. And so it's wonderful. The foundation class is a life changer. I take the class with Gary and Dane every year, and last year twice. And I facilitate it several times a year as well, many times a year. And every single time I get so much more. And you can't do it too many times really, because it is just always changing for one thing. But even with the same tools, we're revisiting tools that we can go deeper and deeper and deeper with. You know, and when Gary and Dane do the rewrite of the class, they have people in there that have been in Access for 20 years, 16 years, you know, still taking that class. So it's not like you take it once, you get your badge and, you know, you get your manual and you're done. Because these are tools for life. These are tools to change everything, anything in your life.
I mean, I've taken the class 4 times, and the first time was with you. And I would, you know, I will still listen to the reruns on those classes happily and still refer to the manual happily. It's like, I mean, there's just nothing you can get tired of in this class. There's no good reason not to choose it on at least an annual basis now. I mean, no matter what I could choose, I would always choose the foundation classes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Because
and many of the others as well. But
yeah, of course. But yeah. It is a game changer, really.
I've got this feeling in my waters. No, it's actually, I think we've come to the end of this wonderful. My roses would like to say, please, can I give them to you? Because Juliana, you know, that's it really. It's, you know, you are beautiful. You are these roses. You are that kind of potency, that kind of beauty, that kind of elegance of living that inspires so much for so many. And what a contribution you are to my and our lives. And thank you so much for this.
Wow.
Thank you so much for this.
Thank you, Heather, for being the inspiration and for holding such a beautiful space and asking all these wonderful questions. It's just a total joy. Thank you so much. And lovely to meet you all in this virtual manner. And I hope that we will meet in person. I'm just going to scroll along so I can see everyone I haven't been seeing. Oh, hi, Marilyn. And
well, Marilyn is with Louise. You haven't. And Louise and Marilyn are our friends from Suffolk. And
oh, lovely. Okay.
And you know, they've done some of the classes with me, and it's just like, wow, there's so much. There are so many people actually just waking up and going, wow, what the heck is this doing to our lives?
Yeah.
And there are a few people that I know wanted to be a part of this, so I will share the video with them and the recording. If you're happy for that, everybody. But what could this conversation already be creating in our lives?
Absolutely. And how much are we already creating the future? You know, with everything that we do, every pod and poc that any one of us does, how much are we changing the future for everyone else? And anything that wouldn't allow us to perceive and receive that potency that we all are every time we do that, shall we destroy and uncreate it?
Yeah, everybody unmute yourselves.
Yay, Janine, Daniela.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Daniela, can you unmute yourself? Gabri, can you unmute yourself?
Daniel, yay! Oh, hello.
Thank you. How does it get even better than this, everybody?
Fabulous.
Here too.
Hey, Bonnie, hi.